Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about Take-Two, which is actually a company you're probably familiar with. A lot of you I know who watch my channel also play video games just by the, association of gameplay and whatnot. There's definitely a lot of crossover between my audience and like gaming fans and things like that, so you probably know what Take-Two Interactive is, or if you don't necessarily know who they are, you definitely know some of the gaming franchises that they're involved with. Take-Two has their hands in things from, Rockstar Games, so what, Grand Theft Auto, Bully, they publish all the 2K games, everything like that. I mean, they have an impressive catalog of video games. They are definitely one of the biggest gaming publishers on the planet, and, well, they're actually pretty big assholes. That is for sure, and it's becoming more and more apparent every day. So for instance, a lot of people recently, in the last few months especially, have been really mad about the lack of a Grand Theft Auto 6 announcement, and that's mostly been kind of targeted at Rockstar. But a lot of people don't realize, I think, that a pretty big factor in the entire way, I guess, that Rockstar acts is how Take-Two runs them, because Take-Two is their parent company. Therefore, they obviously have their hands in some of the decisions, and, well, I think a lot of the bad decisions that Rockstar's been making have been pretty influenced by Take-Two recently, but that isn't even the main premise of today's video, because Take-Two has gone so far and done something so ridiculous that it really kind of triumphs not announcing a video game. Take-Two is being a legitimate bad company, okay? And not in like the terms of, hey, they're putting out a bad product. No, they're literally attempting to abuse people. They're attempting to file trademarks that they should not own the rights to. And their actions recently have targeted a small indie game developer that doesn't really deserve the bullshit that they're getting. So Take-Two has been getting a lot of flack recently, but something just kind of happened over the last few days that I want to talk about. So obviously you guys understand filing a trademark and things like that. When you come up with a product, you want to file the trademark so that you own all of the commercial rights to make that product and everything, and the same goes for the gaming industry. You should be filing trademarks for major franchises and things like that, because obviously, you don't want someone to just come along and kind of steal the idea or whatever, or, come up from under you and take something away like that. That would be pretty huge. And, well, there's this small development studio called Hazelight Studios, and they have a co-op title called It Takes Two, okay? And, well, Take-Two Interactive has taken issue with this and has decided that they were going to file a trademark dispute over this. And in fact, this isn't the only company that's been targeted. In fact, they've actually issued hundreds of new trademarks recently that would give them the rights to words and phrases that include things like Rockstar, Take-Two, 2K, and many different things. So a more recent and open trademark filing from Take-Two concerns Max Payne, a business which, according to OpenCorporates.com, promotes Twitch streamers, YouTube content creators, and esports teams. Max Payne was given an incorporation date, the date it can commence business, of June 29th of 2020. Whilst the US Patent and Trademark Office doesn't appear to list what this specific trademark is over from Take-Two, it appears as though the publisher is filing in connection to Max Payne, the series developed by Rockstar. The trademark dispute has been extended and appears to be ongoing. Elsewhere, Take-Two has been going after reverse engineering projects of classic Grand Theft Auto titles that the publisher deemed to be copyright infringement. Now the modders behind those projects have defended their work as being encompassed by, quote, fair use. Okay, so Take-Two recently has been filing all kinds of like copyright and trademark requests. And in all reality, they've been actually really overstepping their boundaries when it comes to what they should be doing, and, that really comes down to morally and legally what they should be doing. Now, morally, I don't think that it's right for a massive gaming conglomerate like this to try and possess the rights to words like fucking Rockstar, which are just, that's a common word. Rockstar can be used in pretty much any business model. I mean, there's legitimate Rockstars in the music industry, there's Rockstar the gaming developer, Rockstar the energy drink. The idea that, like, this can be claimed as such is insane to me. I mean, sure, maybe if it's, like, the exact spelling and whatnot of Rockstar, but even then, I still think it's stepping too far. And really, it just comes down to Take-Two realizes that they're a massive company and they think that they can bully people. So, they've been filing all of these different requests and takedowns. A lot of these aren't even affecting companies or people that can realistically, legally defend themselves, right? A lot of these are pretty much individuals, it seems like, or just a very small collective of individuals, like these reverse-engineered projects of these classic Grand Theft Auto games and whatnot. A lot of the time, mods like that are developed by sometimes even just one person. So when they have these people getting targeted like this, it really can just be a guy in his bedroom who really just loved Grand Theft Auto San Andreas and modded the game and released a mod for people to play. I think that that should be allowed, and I think that that is fair use. And realistically, it doesn't even make a whole lot of sense for a company like this to even do this. First and foremost, they're mad about these classic Grand Theft Auto mods and whatnot. They've been targeting all these people doing that. But then when they make the remaster of the game to try and commercially profit off of these games, they make a complete dog shit title that doesn't even function at the most bare minimum level, is a complete regression compared to the games that actually released back in the early 2000s. And made complete fucking asses out of themselves, right? Like, no one is looking at the Grand Theft Auto Definitive Trilogy and being like, wow, Rockstar won. Rockstar really did what they needed here. Because frankly put, they didn't. In fact, they made a worse version than what the modders are going to be putting out. That's what's crazy. People in their bedrooms can mod video games better than studios can even remake them. These people do this shit for free, and you know, they gotta deal with these companies coming after them like what Take-Two's doing to these people. When in reality, they're just extending the life cycle of these games to begin with. How many people do you know were loading up Grand Theft Auto San Andreas on the PS2 every fucking day before the Definitive Trilogy? I'm gonna go ahead and guess it was just a fraction of the amount of people who've ever bought the game. So, what would the harm have really been in letting these people just exist? You know, games like Fallout have figured this out, right? That, hey, maybe modding is actually a pretty cool feature that extends the life cycle and extends the fan base of a game. And then, of course, they're going after this indie publisher for making this game It Takes Two, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and say I really don't know what they think they can really do about this, because, like, from my perspective here, this game clearly is not taking advantage of Take-Two's marketing or anything, right? Like, it would be understandable if it was a clear ripoff of the Take-Two brand or something like that, but it really isn't. I mean, it's a completely different type of game than Take-Two would make. It has a completely different graphical style. The Take-Two in the game's name has nothing to do with the company whatsoever. When I look at screenshots of It Takes Two, the first thought I have is never going to be of, oh hey, Take-Two Interactive, because it has nothing to fucking do with them, and it really does nothing to even bear them in mind. So, I'm not totally sure why they see this as a big deal. I really, from my perspective, once again, I don't think they do see it as a quote-unquote big deal. I think that they see they can bully people, and that they can kind of, I guess, mark their territory in a way because, well, they can take ownership of whatever the fuck this is, right? Whoever owns the trademark gets, you know, to demand whatever of that phrase. And if they have Take-Two, they can bully anybody out of their way when it comes down to it. And that's just fucking insane to me. I understand, right? Businesses, they do things like that, right? They have to try and defend their intellectual property. They gotta try and defend their brand and their marketing. I'm cool with that, but that's just so clearly what's not happening in this situation. I mean, some of these, it's a little, I guess, a little understandable, like the whole Max Payne thing, even then not really understandable because, once again, when I hear that name, I'm not necessarily thinking of the gaming franchise. Max Payne, yeah, it is popular, but it's not popular enough to dictate that, you know, anytime that phrase comes up in any sort of stretch of the imagination that I'm gonna instantly think of that. That's not going down, but apparently, you know, Take-Two has this idea in mind that, like, if you hear a phrase that's even remotely similar to any of the ones that they've used, you just think of their brand. Now, this is actually a very extremely dangerous precedent to set. If you continuously let these kinds of companies and stuff file trademarks like this, bully smaller businesses into basically abandoning their trademarks, which cover their games that they make, when you see them constantly going through the effort to, like, suppress usage of these kinds of phrases, that is fucking dangerous, because not only is it stifling creativity and stifling other products in the industry, it's also basically saying, like, hey, if you have enough money at your company, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You know, you can bully companies like this. You can bully the little guy. You can get away with shit like that. And I don't think that that should be something that happens. For instance, this is a little bit of an old situation here on YouTube, but a few years, not even a few, it's been years upon years at this point, but the Fine Bros tried to trademark the word react. Obviously, they had some of the most popular reaction videos on the internet at the time, and, you know, they thought that it would be a good idea to file a trademark for the term react so that no one else could really commercially use it or anything like that. And obviously, that's simply just a fucking word in the dictionary. It's part of just basic English. And if it's not directly tied to your brand, like completely, I'd say like fundamental to your brand, it really shouldn't even be possible like that to try and go through and trademark something like that, because people should not be worried about using specific fucking words, right? I get it. You know, if some company comes along and they make like McDonald's as Big Mac goes back to, you know, something, I don't know, fuck it. I can kind of understand that one, right? Because obviously that is getting a lot of its whole point from a company and its products. I get that. But when, you know, you just have a little bit of a coincidence or something like that, it's really best to just leave it alone. And I think Take-Two is going to learn that because they're getting a lot of negative press because of this. For instance, a lot of different publishers are writing about it right now. And for me, it's actually trending on Twitter, at least Take-Two is currently, because, well, people are reacting to the news. A lot of this is just now starting to come out. And people are not fans of this idea, you know, because it's fucking stupid and it does nothing to benefit the consumer. I mean, obviously it does something to benefit the company, but it's a fucking idiotic benefit to make anyway. And these are the kinds of things that make people think fucking Take-Two is an evil company, you know? They blatantly disregard what consumers want. They put out these shitty remasters that disrespected the games. They keep milking GTA Online like a fucking cash cow, okay? And then, you know, they abandon games like Red Dead 2. They take games like the NBA 2K franchise and run them into the dirt. And then, you know, you get moves like this from them, and it makes me scratch my head. Like, what the fuck are these execs thinking? Do these people at these companies even think about the public reputation? Like, is PR no issue to these people? You know what I mean? I would feel like if it was my company, that I would want people to actually look up to my company. I'd want people to look up to the games that we make. And not look up to them as examples of what not to do with a video game or a remaster, but as examples of being some of the best products and, you know, being made by one of the best gaming companies on the planet. Take-Two's recent actions have been very hard to defend, and I think that it's going to end up turning a lot of fans against them in the future. It kind of seems like they're going down that EA route a little bit, where, you know, they just disregard the PR all the time, they disregard what the consumer thinks of what they do, and they just hammer home these ridiculous fucking concepts like this, man. And then sit back and wonder why they're constantly voted the worst companies in America, why employees hate working for them, why consumers hate their games and hate their companies. It's because of shit like this. If you want people to trust you and respect your product, you have to be respectable yourself. You can't just be fucking scumbags, and apparently that's just, you know, something that Take-Two can't get through their heads. So, I don't know, man. With that being said, though, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shop Opti down below. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, not fucking with Take-Two, and signing out.